Hey, what's going on? It's Incomplete Thought with Keanu. I'm sitting here in my apartment, no shirt on, thinking about the news stories I just watched on Vice News on HBO. I gotta tell you though, that fucking program, they hit home with a lot of different stories they cover, and they hit on shit that the night news and like all these other fucking programs will never hit on because it's actual shit that's happening in the world, not just like, oh, Trump did this today, or Hillary Clinton's thinking about doing this, or whatever the fuck else is going on with the world. Like, at some point, you gotta just sit there and be like, oh, what more do you want? Like, the guy's gonna be out of there soon enough. We hope. And there's just more shit to worry about as far as that goes. Like there's in Myanmar or some place like that, like there's this drug epidemic that's going on, and they call it a drug epidemic, and it's like a war on drugs or whatever, which you would think like leaders and shit would talk with each other and be like, hey, the whole war on drugs it's a bunch of bullshit and it's not gonna work. Maybe try a different approach. Instead, they got like mobile courtrooms rolling around the fucking like cities and shit, like run by. So they got the army for Myanmar, the Coast Guard, and the police force are all like kicking into places, and then they search, drug these potential drug infested households, and they come in and like obviously there's people who are on drugs, and then they just like randomly handcuff these other people who look like they might have been the ones dealing the drugs. And it's like, okay, is the drug leading to crime rates? Is it leading? No, it's not. It's a bunch of poor people, mostly, who can't afford to do anything else, or if they can, they don't want to. There's like garbage lined up and down the streets. It looks horrible, like a horrible life. Like, how could you not be on drugs there? And then when you find out what kind of drug, it's a caffeine pill mixed with amphetamines. But these people don't look like they're doing much. They're just hanging out in their house, not fucking bothering anybody. And then they get some jackhole kicking in the door, being like, "Oh, you're going to jail for 2 years for possession and um, intention to distribute." And it's like, well, that fucking pill is legal here in the U.S. I mean, the amphetamines are legal as long as a doctor prescribed, and then caffeine is definitely legal. I mean, their drug dealers is like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, but nobody wants to think of it like that. When are people gonna just accept that you can't tell other people what to do with their bodies? Like, I get to a certain extent if it's a burden on the community. You got to figure out a place. Like, I imagine like one of the big things they're like, well, there's a bunch of people overdosing on it, or they're dying from this drug, but it's like, okay, what would you be in up in arms if people were eating themselves to death, or anything else? No, you wouldn't. It's just because it's a drug, and probably a drug like somehow one way or another distributed by like a government of some sort, you know? As if there's a profit being made, there's going to be people behind it that are fucking in charge, you know? You see, I mean, look at the cocaine industry in this country. I mean, it's illegal, but we sell it. We just sell it as fucking Adderall. And it's cocaine. It's basically cocaine. I mean, I challenge, like, I would like to see somebody take a bump of cocaine, like pure shit, not anything fucked with. Take the same amount of dosage that's equal to like 3 Adderalls, and see who the fuck bounces off the walls the most, or who freaks the fuck out. But in this country, Myanmar, like I said, I mean, the places they were going into, it's like, you think maybe if you devoted some of those resources into like actually cleaning up the streets, like I like how they like to use it, like, oh, we're cleaning up the streets of the drug dealers and the whores and the pimps and all this other shit. That doesn't clean up the streets. I mean, you can go in and you can, fix the things around you that you think or society might deem not correct about it, but like it's not actually defeating the issue. It's like going into your bedroom and your bedroom has all this shit all over it, and your idea to clean it up is to just get it off the floor. That's cleaning it up. Like that shit's not going to eventually stack up and fall back over, you know? Whereas what you really need to do is just get rid of the shit that's cluttering up your floor, you know? And it's not the fucking, it's not your clothes. Your clothes go into the drawer. It's the stupid shit you get at like yard sales or you randomly buy off of Amazon and never fucking touch again. That's the type of shit that's cluttering up your room. But you're trying to solve it by stacking it up into a corner. Of course, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm no economist and I haven't really, other than that 10-minute segment on Vice, I'm just sitting there spitballing of what I think. Like, just don't devote resources to a drug war or a war on drugs. Devote resources to cleaning people up. Something to be said about, like, Sweden and the Netherlands who have legalized, like, opium dens. You go in, you get your fix. And then you go on with your day. You either go to work or maybe you go home to your family or whatever. It's no different than somebody going down and drinking themselves to death, Like, it's very hypocritical, and because there's money to be made in that, that's why it's illegal. It's fucking bullshit. And then you got places like I said, Myanmar. There's the Philippines are doing it too with Duterte or whatever the fuck his name is. Huh? Duterte. Just murdering people. He thinks they're drug dealers, or probably just murdering their competition. You'd think with like a large government you'd have some type of power, but I don't know. What's a good fucking example of... Oh, so like, history always repeats itself, and shit like that. In like the 20s and 30s, alcohol was illegal. Couldn't get alcohol in the United States. It was outlawed completely. And what did people do? They crossed the border to Mexico to go get alcohol, or opened up speakeasies, or did all this other shit. And what were those people doing? If anything, the criminals were fucking hiding in plain sight. But they weren't going to do anything crazy, like, you're not going to go, like, up and down the street fucking creating a bunch of havoc. No, you want that place to still be there, so you're going to be quiet about it. I don't know, I just think the whole approach on the whole subject is just wrong. It's wrong in a lot of ways. It's wrong in how it's handled. Let's throw you in prison. So we can fight we need to clean up the streets so that we can put people in prison because it's costing the taxpayers monies for the body bag and all the resources devoted to that. Well, what happens when they go to jail? They're still going to be fucking eating up resources. They're still going to be doing shit that's going to cost you money. If anything, it costs you more money. I think I'm probably wrong on these statistics, but I think it's like $100,000 a year a prisoner. I think just to feed, clothe, like everything, all expenses paid. If they get sick, they get good health care, unlike us. And hey, want to reduce the deficit? Why don't you fucking kick some of these people out who are in there for like, I don't know, fines and shit, like just traffic violations or something as stupid as like doing like Change the laws that if you're just doing drugs in your own home and you're not doing anything, treat it like alcohol. You go outside and you're fucking stoned on PCP or fucking methamphetamines and you kill somebody on accident or on purpose, you go to jail. Just like if you were if you were drinking. But you know what you're not going to get in trouble for? You're not going to get in trouble for drinking at your house. You're not going to fucking do that. There's nobody kicking in the door for you drinking. I've never done these drugs. I know how, all I've had for experiences with these drugs is the people around me doing these drugs and how addictive it is. But you know what? It's their choice. It's no different than when I have my video game addiction. Or in some cases when I had my sex addiction. Still have that addiction, by the way. But you know what I mean? Like, you know how many stupid fucking decisions I've made just on the possibility of getting laid? I've literally drove an hour and a half on the possibility of getting laid just to get there and find out that she didn't want anything to do with me, only to make, like, her ex-boyfriend jealous. I spent like $30 in that time, like $30 in gas to get to her, just to find that all. And that's fine, but it was a waste of fucking money. Because I wanted to potentially do something. I mean, if I was gonna spend money on, like, I don't know, fucking mushrooms or weed, at least I would have gotten something out of it, you know? And I wouldn't have hurt anybody. I would have just sat at home, paranoid as shit, thinking cops were gonna come break down the door and take me to jail. Because why? Because I'm enjoying something that I'm doing on my own free will. Now, I'm parroting a lot of statements from, like, Doug Stanhope and Joe Rogan and stuff, but they all have truths behind it. You know, I got a buddy in the Marines, or yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine, right? And he should be able to go down to the fucking store, get some pot to deal with whatever he needs to deal with, and go home and enjoy it by himself. And you got people like, oh, well, it smells really bad. It smells like a skunk. So you know what else smells like skunks? Fucking skunks. No one's outlawing skunks. No one's being like, you can't have a skunk in your backyard, or they're not going out into the fucking woods and just murdering skunks because they don't like the smell of skunks. I mean, you could also be an adult about it, you know? Like, just picture this scenario. Somebody's smoking pot, and you don't like it because it's wafting into your apartment. Go upstairs and say something. Go downstairs and say something. Go next door and say something. Say something to him or her and let them know that, hey, man, I get that you like to smoke pot. Do you think maybe you could smoke outside? Because that's like the fun. Because they will. And if they don't do that, they'll find some way to, like, mitigate the smell somehow. I've seen people take empty rolls of toilet paper, strap fucking dryer sheets to the end of it, take a hit of pot, blow it through the dryer sheet. The place smells like fucking a field of roses and shit, and it's just to cover up the smell so their parents don't catch them. You know what I mean? So there's stuff that they can do. There's incense. There's all this other shit. I mean, hopefully they don't spray patchouli, but you know what I mean. Like, they will figure something out to do. You know, because I mean, you just have to talk to people. Chances are, if they're smoking pot and it's in a state that has it that it's illegal in, yeah, you telling them that you can smell the pot is going to let them know that there are cops that can also potentially smell that. So yeah, they're gonna fucking listen to you. But that's just me. That's just the way I would think about it. Like, you know, same thing with cigarette smoking, you know. I got family members who like to smoke cigarettes. Guess where they're not smoking cigarettes? In my car. And I let them know. I'm like, hey, look, let me know if you need to pull over. You can smoke a cigarette. That's fine, but you're not smoking it in my car. Because I don't want my car to smell like cigarettes. It's going to smell like cigarettes already because I'm hanging out with you and my clothes, you know, pick up the smell real easy. But, like, you're not going to get into my car and fucking pollute it. No fucking way. But I'm not going to also just be like, you know, wait for them to do it in my car and not say anything. Then when they get out, go fucking complain about it. Because you handle the situation in that sense. Talk to people. That's all you got to do. Very easy to just write